welcome back to my channel. Today we're starting the Series 1, or I should say the Series doll videos. I'm going to do all of Series 1 through 35. I'm also going to do Resurrection Series as well. Well, the ones that I have. I don't have all the Resurrection Series. I'm only missing Series 7. And by the time I get to that Resurrection set, who knows? I may have one or two. But for now, that's the only Resurrection set I do not have. So I don't want to rush through Series 1 because I feel like Series 1, I feel like I've been talking about all these characters for at least 2 years because of the Return of the Living Dead dolls. So I am going to give as much information, but I don't want you to think I don't love Series 1. I do. It's the series I started on. But I won't be repeating things that I've mentioned in my Return of the Living Dead doll reviews and in past videos, especially with Sadie and Eggy, since they each had their own videos of the dolls. I have my collection of them as characters. So without further ado, let's get into Series 1. So Series 1 was first released in March of 2001. Of the Fab Five you see here, the only one that was not a handmade doll was Damian, as far as I know. Since Sadie, Eggy, and Posie, they've each have had handmaids of them over the years, starting in 1998, when they first debuted in the Chiller Theater, which is a convention that runs every year, still to this day, in New Jersey. We're going to start with Sadie, of course, the mascot. So Sadie, OG Sadie, comes with a bloody knife, which I keep in her sock because she can't hold it, coffin purse, and a bouquet of flowers. Now, the original Series 1 series, they can't hold their accessories. So with Sadie, sometimes you could put the flower like that. I've had her pose like that with the flower. Her coffin purse, I just keep it to the side. Or you can kind of get it to balance like that. But for me, she just has her accessories just by her feet. Actually, her flower, I loaned it to Died in Doom, so they can have a bouquet of flowers. You know, it's a wedding couple. They should have, I'm sorry, the Resurrection Died in Doom. They don't have a bouquet of flowers. So, you know, the bride should have a bouquet of flowers. So it's on loan with her. And I keep Sadie's knife in her sock. Okay? And yeah, there's nothing much to her. She has a felt dress. The articulation for Series 1 and from Series 1 to Series 8, very limited. They do not have ball joint articulation. They can move their head side to side and their arms up and down. To pose them, many collectors, they call it the pelvic thrust. So basically you would, on the shelf to balance, if they don't have a doll stand, you just tilt them up so they can stand. But because I have doll stands, I don't need to do that with this series. They are actually displayed on the very tippy top, and for them and only this series, I'm not going to have the physical chipboards to show. Here's Sadie's chipboard. Now, the cool thing about the Series 1 through 34, 35 is not on Mezco's site. You can see their chipboard information on the website under Living Dead Dolls Archive, and you can also see the details of their death certificate, or whether a doll has a death certificate. So that's very important. They all have death certificates. So just FYI, if you're searching for these dolls. Now, in terms of price, Sadie and Company, just to keep in mind, when you see rare if you compare it to doll lines like Monster High, for example, who was available in all retail stores, Target, Walmart, Toys R Us at the time, KB toy stores. Yes, they are rare in that instance, but today you could still get them relatively easy compared to other series dolls. And usually, the price depends on their condition, whether they're new in coffin, out of the coffin, with accessories, no accessories. So it really varies. But for an inbox Sadie, for example, she can go for about $80. And that's complete in the coffin. Okay? And that is Sadie. Okay. Next is Sin. Now, as you see, Sin has a little rubber band holding her pitchfork because she doesn't have the capability of holding it. And it's an old rubber band, so I definitely need to change it out. Now, eventually in time, it will warp her pitchfork. That's what I've experienced. Now, this particular Sin that I have has a hole in her hand. Now, the reason why that's significant is because in the same year of 2001, when the Series 1 was released, there was a Japanese release that had holes in the hands, but they still couldn't hold their accessories. Like my Sin's pitchfork didn't come with a peg to put in the hand, so I'm not sure why they had holes, but from Series 2 and on, if the doll had an accessory that had a little peg, they will have holes in the hand. So that's another distinction. Now, it doesn't matter. They have the same chipboards, the same accessories, death certificates. The death certificate is in English. But the coffin on the bottom will have a Japanese sticker. And so, in terms of price, it really doesn't matter. Sin still goes for the same price as a Sin without the Japanese sticker on the coffin, or any of them. They made about, of those Japanese sets, they made about, I want to say 350, according to my research. So they don't command a high price, and honestly, they don't look any different than those without the holes in their hands. So for me, it doesn't matter. I don't need to have all the Japanese releases and non-Japanese release. It's a little redundant in my opinion. So I wouldn't stress that. Depending on how much the price is, really should be all that matters for the Series 1 dolls. Okay. And she comes with a tail that's attached to her. It's not movable. And again, same articulation as Sadie. And that is Sin. Okay, next is Damian. And Damian, as you could see, has his slingshot. It's rubber band to his hand. This is the regular release, no hole in his hand. And he has a cap that actually fits. Snap button jacket. And he comes with these books. Now, the interesting thing with his resurrection, unlike Sadie, Sin, Eggy, and Posie, he does not come with any of these accessories, which is a big letdown, a big ripoff as well, and I'll go into that when I discuss his resurrection series. So the books have a pentagram, sulfur, and 666. Okay, and I forgot to mention with Sin, Damian also commands the same price as Sadie, around $80, new in coffin. Okay, and that is Damian. Okay, next is Eggy, who is my favorite of Series 5. I love Eggzorcist. Now, after after series 1, all other Eggy releases have a material noose. Here it's plastic. She has a roach accessory in this little Easter basket with grass. And that's about it. Here's her chipboard. And, that's it. She's very simple. I love her. She's so cute. And when I was doing my research in terms of prices, she seemed to command a little bit more, around like $100, $105. But again, these prices fluctuate. And if you want to know how I got the prices, eBay has 2 features. If you go to, where you filter your search, and if you go all the way down to completed items, you could see like the latest latest group of dolls that sold and what price they sold. Or you can go on Google and do eBay product search. So what I did was I searched going back 3 years, and you're able to see the average price of these dolls sold for. And like I said, it comes out to around $80. Not much of a difference than what I first bought some of them. I can't remember which ones, but I think I paid about $80 for Posie, and same thing with Eggy. Sadie was a gift, and I don't think I paid that much for Damian. He was sealed for like $40, I want to say. And Sin, I think, was around the same price as Damian. I'm not sure. I'll update it with the prices. But that's how you can research the prices for these dolls. So eBay, under the filter where it says completed items, for like the latest prices. Or if you want to go back, especially if you're a collector and you might have these dolls and need to sell them, you could see how much you can list them for that realistically people will buy it for. And again, it all depends on the condition, whether they have their accessories, whether they're new in coffin. All that contributes to the price. Just FYI. Okay? And that is Eggzorcist. And last but certainly not least is Posie. Now, Posie, this version of Posie, it will be the only Posie that has shoes and socks. So she has the similar Mary Jane shoes to Sin and Sadie. She comes with her rose. This is another Japanese release I have. See how she has the hole in her hand. All her roses moving forward from series 1 will have a peg on the rose, so you can stick it in the hole in her hand, but not the original series. And she has her trademark long hair. Here's her chipboard. And she, again, goes for about the same price as Sin, Sadie, and Damian, around $80. And, here's her chipboard. And that is Posie. Now, when you search for these dolls, it's very important that you are aware that there's a Series 13 anniversary version of them. So, in 2011, Mezco came out with a 13th anniversary reissue of the Fab Five. They had major differences from the original series you see in front of you. They pretty much had the same clothing, same accessories. So the dolls themselves were, in essence, the same. But there are certain characteristics that, as a would-be collector, you should definitely keep out for. So the first being is that if you're looking for them and they're new in coffin, they come in a blue coffin that has black writing that says 13th all over the coffin. And the chipboard is different. So here's again one of the original chipboards. And then here's one from the 13th anniversary. Big difference is that the anniversary, the chipboard art has their hands down. Their hands are not up. And, again, it looks, and it looks more like a photo instead of a sketch like the original. Another big difference is the tattoo. There's a tattoo on the back of the doll's neck that says 13th to commemorate the 13th anniversary. And the biggest difference is the ball joint articulation that's been added. So these dolls now can move their heads up and down, and they can actually move their arms out. And they started doing that ball joint articulation with series 10, I want to say. And then they've been like that ever since. So that's very hard to see if the doll is loose. So I would definitely ask the seller, more information. You could definitely ask them, especially if it's a loose doll, ask them to show the tattoo. If the doll has a tattoo in the back of the neck, ask them for a photograph of it. There's also a variant set of that, of Series 13, which is more rare. And basically, this is where it gets confusing, it's the same black coffin, the same chipboard, but they have an updated look to them, which is, again, it's like minuscule, the difference between the regular 13th anniversary release and the variant. The variant set also has on their coffin, in addition to the 13th anniversary sticker, which those will have, the blue coffins, they also have a Mezco Direct sticker. So with the Mezco Direct, you can only get it from the website. And those had a set production run of 240 sets. So they're more rare and they're highly sought after, so they could be pricey. But again, if it's out of the coffin, sometimes the seller might not know that they're selling that, or they'll tell you the doll could be that, but you really need to be careful and ask, all the right questions, because again, you don't want to unnecessarily pay for a doll so much money that's very unnecessary, so definitely do your research. And before I close this video out, I just want to share some fun facts about some of the dolls. So Damian's death date, for example, of February 29th, 1972, is the same birth date as the co-creator Damian Glonick. Surprise, surprise, both having the name Damian. Posie here is based on the blind girl in this Italian horror movie called The Beyond by Lucio Fulci. And her death date of August 8th, 1970 is Ed Long's birthday. And Eggy here, her death date of July 15th, 1967 is actually the birthday of Michael Metz Morowitz, a co-founder of Mezco Toys. And Eggy, her character was created by one of the guys as a handmaid for a former girlfriend, and when they broke up, she gave back the doll. So that's kind of interesting. And that's about it. So I'm looking forward to getting into detail with the other series. I can't wait to talk about the other series. I've been really, really excited to do that. And again, no disrespect to the OG Fab 5, but I'm so glad to be moving on from them. I just felt like I've been talking about them for so long. So that's it of my overview of Series 1. I hope you enjoy a brief overview and a lot of information, but it's very important that you know what's out there when you're searching for these dolls. So stay tuned for more series dolls. I'm hoping to do 2 more for February. I'm aiming to do 3 a month. So fingers crossed I can do that. All right. And as always, happy hunting.